The stars were quiet that night, but deep in space, a voice cried out. The planet Nurlon was in danger. It was a small, peaceful world. The people there, called Nurlans, had never known war. They grew food, sang songs, and looked at the stars with hope. But then, something came. A shadow in the sky. Something powerful. Something hungry. No one knew what it was. No name. No face. Just destruction. It burned cities. Took the skies. The Nurlans had no weapons. No army. They were not ready. Their leader, Ilian, stood in the control room. He was tall, with pale blue skin and kind eyes. But now, fear lived in those eyes. We must send the signal, he said. But to who? Asked his daughter, Lyra. Who will help us? Ilian looked out at the stars. To anyone who hears, he said quietly. To the galaxy. A red button was pressed. A message, full of hope and fear, was sent into space. Please, we are peaceful. We are dying. If anyone can hear this, please help us. The message flew across systems, through dust clouds, and around stars. And then it reached a small blue planet. Earth. Earth was no longer the same planet people remembered. It had changed. After hundreds of years of war, pain, and survival, humans had become strong. They were now known across the stars by a new name. Deathworlders. Beings who came from a world so dangerous, only the strongest survived. A planet of storms, beasts, and war. Other species feared them. Some hated them. But no one ignored them. The signal reached Station E7, an old listening post near Jupiter. An old man named Captain Harlan heard it first. He listened to the trembling voice of Ilian. He didn't smile. He didn't speak. He just stood up and walked to the control room. Call the council, he said. We have work to do. Back on Nurlon, Ilian waited. 1 day passed. Then 2. Then 5. No answer. No sign. Just silence. Lyra cried at night. People were losing hope. Then on the 10th night, the sky changed. It started as a small star. Then 2. Then many. Hundreds of ships, dark, silent, massive, appeared above Nurlon. The Nurlans looked up in fear. Are these the ones we called? They asked. The ships had no flags, no music, no message. Just cold metal and quiet engines. One ship came down. It moved slowly, like a beast that didn't need to run. It landed in the center of the city. The door opened, and a human stepped out. He was tall. His armor was black. His face was hidden under a helmet. He didn't carry a flag. He carried a weapon, but he didn't raise it. Children hid behind their parents. Ilian stepped forward. Did you hear our call? He asked. The human nodded once. We asked for peace, Ilian said. We asked for help. The human's voice was calm, but strong. You asked. We answered. Ilian took a step back. Are you here to fight? The human looked around at the broken city. Then he said something that made everyone silent. We don't fight for fun. We fight to protect. You sent a call. That means you're ours now. Ilian didn't understand. Ours. The human looked at the sky. Something is coming. We saw it in your message. We've seen it before. You needed help. But what's coming isn't something that listens. So we didn't bring peace. The ground shook under their feet as more ships landed. We brought war. The skies above Nurlon were no longer blue. They were filled with shadows. The human fleet floated like giants in the sky, silent, still, watching. The Nurlans stood below, eyes wide, hearts pounding. They had called for help, but were not ready for this. These were not heroes from the stars. These were soldiers, warriors from Earth, the Deathworlders. The first human who had landed didn't speak again. He stood still, like a statue made of metal. Behind him, more humans arrived. One by one, tall, strong, quiet. Their armor was dark, their weapons were heavy, but their eyes were calm, cold, focused. Lyra, daughter of Elian, stood behind her father. She whispered, "Why don't they talk to us?" Elian shook his head. "Maybe they don't trust us yet." Then, the human leader stepped forward. His name was Commander Reyes. He took off his helmet. His face was hard, with a scar across one eye. But his voice was calm. "We are here to help, but we are not diplomats. We are defenders," he said. Elian stepped closer. "We're grateful, but we don't want war." Reyes looked at the broken buildings, the empty homes, the scared faces. "You asked for help. That means you needed protection," he said. Then he turned to the sky. "And we don't come alone." Suddenly, loud sounds filled the air. More ships landed, fast and heavy. Huge machines rolled out, tanks, defense units, scanners. Nerlan's people were shocked. They had never seen anything like this. The children cried. Mothers held them close. Elian raised his voice. "Commander, this is too much. We don't need all this." Reyes looked him in the eye. "You think this is too much?" He pointed to the sky. "Then you don't know what's coming." That night, the Nerlans watched as humans built camps, walls, and turrets. No one slept. Human soldiers moved like machines. No rest. No fear. Always alert. Lyra walked through the camp. She watched a group of humans clean their weapons. Their faces showed no emotion. She sat beside a young human named Carter. He looked different, younger, more open. "Do you always move like this?" she asked. Carter nodded. "Always. We don't wait for the enemy. We prepare before it comes." Lyra asked softly, "What if the enemy never comes?" Carter didn't smile. "It always comes." The next day, scanners picked up something in the sky. Fast, silent, unknown. Rey stood on a high tower, looking through a screen. It was blurry, but big. "We've seen this before," he said to his second in command. "Same energy, same flight pattern." The officer asked, "Is it them?" Reyes' voice turned cold. "Yes." Elian called a meeting. He invited Reyes to speak to the Nerlans. In the city square, hundreds of peaceful aliens gathered. They wanted answers. Reyes stood before them. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't make promises. He only said the truth. "Your planet is under threat. We've seen this force before. They destroy. They do not talk. They do not stop." An old Nerlan shouted, "Why do they come?" Reyes answered, "Because you're weak. Because you shine too bright." There was silence. Then Elian asked, "Why do you help us? Why do you care?" Reyes looked at the people. "We don't help because we care," he said. "We help because no one else will. We help because once we were alone too." He walked away, leaving only his words behind. That night, Lyra stood outside her home. She looked at the stars. One star blinked, then another. Not stars. Ships. The enemy had arrived. The enemy ships floated in the sky like black clouds. Silent, cold, waiting. The people of Nerlan stared up in fear. Mothers held their children close. Fathers stood still, helpless. They had called for peace. But war had come. The human soldiers, the Dithworlders, moved fast. They were not scared, not surprised, not angry. They were ready. Commander Reyes stood at the front of the human base. His armor was on. His face was hidden now. He looked like a machine. His voice came through a speaker. "Everyone to your positions. Defend all zones. No retreat." The human army spread across the city. Towers were filled with snipers. Streets were guarded by heavy soldiers. The skies buzzed with drones. The Nerlans watched from behind the walls. They had never seen war. They had never seen warriors like this. Elian, the leader of Mirlan, stepped forward. He spoke to Reyes. "We still don't understand," he said. "You came with power, but you speak of defense. Why?" Reyes didn't stop moving. He pointed to the sky. "You called for help," he said. "We came to protect." "But why like this?" Elian asked. "Why so many weapons?" Reyes stopped. He looked Elian in the eye. "Because peace needs power. If you want calm skies, you need someone strong to watch them." Suddenly, a loud alarm rang. The enemy had landed. Ships touched the ground outside the city. Black, sharp, crawling like spiders. From them came the enemy soldiers. They were not made of flesh. They were machines, tall, cold, without a face. They walked without sound. They moved without fear. The Nerlens screamed. Some ran. Some fell to their knees. But the humans did not move. Reyes spoke just 2 words. "Hold fire." The enemy marched closer. Closer. Then, at 100 meters. Now, the humans opened fire. It was not loud like old war. It was focused, sharp, controlled. Red beams, explosions, smoke. The enemy machines fell, one by one. Not a single human was hit. Lyra watched from a tower, her eyes wide, her hands shaking. She saw one human soldier, small, fast, fierce. She later learned his name was Reed. Reed moved like the wind. He jumped over cover, shot with perfect aim. He looked like he had done this 1,000 times. She whispered, "They don't just fight, they dance." Elian stood frozen beside Commander Reyes. "You knew this would happen," he said. Reyes nodded. "Yes, we've seen this before. We've fought them before." "Then why didn't you warn us?" Elian asked. Reyes looked at the battle. A human was pulling an injured Nerlan to safety. "Because words don't prepare people. Actions do." The battle ended after an hour. Every enemy machine was destroyed. Not a single one escaped. The people of Nerlan were silent. They looked at the ground, covered in black metal parts. Then they looked at the humans. Elian walked forward. I don't know what to say," he whispered. Reyes looked tired now. His voice was softer. "Then don't say anything. Just rebuild. We'll keep watch." That night, a fire was lit in the city square. The humans sat quietly, cleaning their weapons. Some Nerlens brought them food. Others just watched. Lyra sat beside Carter again. "You didn't come here to make friends, did you?" she asked. Carter smiled a little. "No, but sometimes it happens anyway." In the dark, on a hill far away, one enemy machine turned its red eye back on. It had survived, and it was watching. The city of Mirlan was quiet again. Too quiet. After the first battle, the Nerlens felt safe. The enemy was gone. The human warriors had won. Children played again. Shops opened. But high above the streets, the humans did not relax. Commander Reyes stood on a tall tower, scanning the sky. His voice came through his helmet. "They're not done. This was just the first wave." Far outside the city, hidden in the forest, one enemy machine watched. Its red eye blinked. It sent a silent signal into the stars. Far away, something answered. Back in the human base, Lyra brought food to a group of soldiers. She looked at them, so calm, so quiet. "Why don't you celebrate?" she asked softly. A soldier named Rico answered, "Because real war doesn't end after one fight." Another soldier nodded. "The shadows always come back." Lyra didn't understand. "What are they?" Carter, the younger soldier, looked at her. "They're not just machines," he said. "They are controlled. Something hides behind them." In the control room, Reyes and his team studied the battlefield data. A young tech officer spoke. "Sir, the enemy signal didn't stop. It changed. It's spreading." Reyes narrowed his eyes. They're calling for more. He tapped the table. We're not facing one army. We're facing a hive. Elian, the Nerlan leader, was called to the base. Rays showed him the screen. The signal is moving underground, through old tunnels, deep places. Elian looked confused. We never built anything underground. Rays stared at him. Then something else did. The next day, strange things began to happen. Animals disappeared. The sky turned slightly darker. People heard strange sounds at night. Clicking, whispering, metal scraping on stone. A child said he saw red eyes in the forest. No one believed him, until the trees began to move. A patrol of human soldiers was sent outside the city. They walked through a dead forest, trees blackened by fire, air thick like smoke. Then they saw it, a hole in the ground, wide, deep, breathing warm air. Inside, something glowed red. "Command, this is Unit 7, the lead soldier said. We found a nest." "Repeat," Rays answered. "A what?" "A nest, a tunnel system. Big, alive. Sir, I think they're growing down here." Suddenly, the signal was cut. No sound, no reply. Silence. Rays stood still. Then he gave the order. "Seal the city. Prepare for second contact." Back in the city, panic returned. The Nerlans wanted to flee, but the humans stopped them. "This is where we hold," Rays said. Lara stepped forward. "You can't just trap us in." Carter looked at her. "It's not a trap. It's a shield." That night, the enemy returned, but not from the sky. They came from below. Tunnels opened under the city. From them came new machines, faster, stronger, sharper. They crawled like insects. They screamed like metal. Human soldiers fought back with everything they had. Flames, beams, explosives. The city shook, but the machines kept coming. In the middle of the battle, one machine reached the main wall. It stopped. Then it spoke. Not in a voice, in a message on the human screen. "We were watching. We know you. We remember Earth." Rays stared at the message. "They're not machines," he said. "They're puppets." Elian asked, "Puppets of who?" Rays replied, "Something worse." The screen blinked again. "Earth fights well, but your time is short. We are not alone." Smoke filled the air. Screams echoed through the broken streets. The enemy had returned. Faster, smarter, stronger. And this time, they came from beneath the ground. The peaceful city of Nerlan shook as tunnels opened and black machines crawled out like insects from a hive. The human soldiers stood between the enemy and the people. They fired. They fought. They didn't fall back. But the enemy didn't stop. Commander Rays moved through the battlefield like a shadow. He gave orders without panic, without fear. Hold the west wall. Seal the south tunnel. Protect the civilians. Beside him, Lyra ran with a group of Nerlans, helping injured ones get to safety. She saw a machine crawl up a broken building. It turned toward her. Its red eye flashed. She froze. Suddenly, boom! The machine exploded. A human soldier tackled Lyra and pulled her behind cover. It was Reed, the fast one, the quiet one. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded, shaking. "You saved me." Reed didn't smile. He just loaded his weapon. "Stay down. It's not over." Inside the human command center, a young tech officer shouted, "Commander, they're jamming our signals. We can't call a fleet." Rays stared at the screen. More red dots appeared. More tunnels opened. "This is not just an attack," he said. "It's a test." At the main wall, Carter and his unit fought side by side with Nerlans. Carter threw a grenade into a swarm of machines. The blast sent parts flying. He looked at a scared Nerlan next to him and said, "This is what we do. We hold the line." The Nerlan asked, "Don't you feel fear?" Carter replied softly, always. But I don't let it win. In the city square, Elian, the leader of Nerlan, stood on a small stage. The people were scared, confused. Some wanted to run. Elian raised his voice. We asked for help, and Earth answered. Now we must be brave like them. This is our world. We stand together. For the first time, the Nerlans didn't cry. They listened. They stood up. But in the shadows, something else moved. A new kind of enemy. Not a machine. Not a drone. Something. Alive. It moved through the smoke like a ghost. It watched. It listened. Then it sent a signal. Back in the command center, another message appeared on the screen. This is only the beginning. Your warriors are strong, but strength has limits. We are many. Suddenly, the sky darkened. More ships arrived, big ones, black as night. They didn't land. They hovered high above the city. Thousands of red lights blinked on. Lyra looked up and whispered, "What are those?" Ray's voice was cold. The real army. The enemy had been testing, learning. Now, the true war was starting. But Earth didn't run. Ray's turned to his officers. Get me a signal line. We're calling the full fleet. It's time we show them what Deathworlders really are. The sky burned red. Enemy ships hovered above Nerlan, watching, waiting. Below, the humans and Nerlan stood together. Tired, wounded, but not broken. In the command center, Commander Ray stared at the blinking red lights on the screen. They were surrounded, but he didn't panic. He gave a short command. Open the deep channel. Call Earth. The tech officer hesitated. Sir, we haven't tested the long-range system since landing. Ray's looked at him, calm and firm. We don't test during war. We act. The officer nodded and tapped the controls. A signal burst into space. A single code. Deathworld Protocol. Code Crimson. Far away, deep in Earth's military zone, alarms rang. The code was clear. Earth didn't ask questions. It answered. In less than 6 hours, the sky over Nerlan began to change. One by one, massive shadows moved into view. Earth's real fleet had arrived. Hundreds of ships. Black and silver. Strong and silent. Each ship carried thousands of warriors. Each warrior trained for worlds like this. Not to conquer, to defend. The people of Nerlan ran into the streets, pointing at the sky. Children gasped. Elders fell to their knees. Elian looked up with wide eyes. They came. So many. Lyra stood beside him, her voice shaking. I've never seen anything so powerful, so quiet. Carter, standing with his gear ready, smiled for the first time. Now you're going to see why Earth is called the Deathworld. From the lead Earth ship, a message echoed across the city. A woman's voice, strong and clear. To the enemies above, you have threatened the wrong world. To the people below, you are not alone. The enemy ships began to shift. Their formation broke. They were scanning the Earth fleet, measuring, calculating. And then, they attacked. Thousands of red beams shot toward Earth's ships. But Earth didn't move back. The human fleet moved through the fire, fast, perfect, without fear. Their return fire was different. It was focused, direct, intelligent. Every shot counted. Every missile hit. Every drone destroyed something important. On the ground, Ray's received a message in his ear. He smiled under his helmet. Fleet control is ours. Begin ground defense stage 2. Earth soldiers dropped from the sky like stars falling. They landed across Nerlan, in streets, on rooftops, even in the forests. Each one in armor. Each one holding weapons Nerlan had never seen. And they didn't come to stand still. They came to fight. The new enemy, faster, stronger machines, came from tunnels and dropships. They met the full force of Earth's train divisions. The sound was thunder. The ground shook. But this time, the humans weren't defending a small city. They were pushing back. Lyra ran between shelters, helping children get to safety. She passed by Reed, who was carrying an injured Nerlin on his back while firing with one hand. She shouted, "How are you still standing?" Reed replied, breathing heavy, "Because if we don't, who will?" In the sky, 2 enemy ships exploded. The others began to pull back, not out of fear, but confusion. They had never faced this much resistance. Never seen unity like this, warriors fighting not for power, but for protection. In the command center, Alien asked, "Will this be the end?" Reyes looked out the window, then said quietly, "No, but now, it's our turn." Smoke rose from the hills around Nerlon. The ground was black. The sky was quiet. But peace had not returned yet. The enemy was not fully gone. It was only hiding, waiting for a moment to strike again. But this time, Earth was ready, and Nerlon was no longer weak. In the main square, Commander Reyes stood beside Elian, the leader of Nerlon. Behind them stood humans and Nerlins, side by side. Some were soldiers, some were farmers, some were children holding tools. But all of them stood tall. "This is not just a city," Reyes said. "This is a message. We protect what asks for peace, and we do not fall." Far above them, the enemy fleet floated in silence. Their machines had failed. Their tunnels were destroyed. Their messages had been answered with fire. But they had one last move. In the command center, a tech officer shouted, "Sir, a large object is entering the atmosphere." Reyes turned sharply. Enemy. The screen showed a ship, too big to fight with normal weapons. It was heading straight for the city. No reply. No signal. It's falling fast. The Earth fleet opened fire. Dozens of missiles. Beams of energy. Nothing stopped it. The ship was built for one thing: destruction. Lyra, standing beside Carter on the rooftop, looked up. "What do we do now?" Carter didn't answer. He simply grabbed his gear. Then, Reyes made the call. "Prepare the shield." A machine, tall, hidden in Earth's lead ship, woke up. It had only one purpose: to protect, no matter the cost. Earth had one last defense: a planetary shield, but it could only be used once. The sky flashed. A wave of blue light covered the city like a dome. And the enemy ship struck. Boom. The impact shook the land. Light flashed across the sky. Windows shattered. People screamed. But the shield held. The enemy ship broke into fire and metal, falling into the sea far beyond the city. Silence. Then, cheering. People cried. Soldiers hugged. Lyra fell to her knees, holding Carter's hand. "We're still here," she whispered. "We're still alive." But Commander Reyes did not smile. He looked up at the stars. "They'll come again. Maybe not tomorrow, but someday." Elian asked, "Then what do we do?" Reyes turned to him. "You rebuild. You prepare. And you remember who stood with you." Days passed. The city began to heal. People planted flowers where battles once burned. Nerlin children played with Earth drones, laughing. And the Earth soldiers, they didn't leave. Not all of them. Some stayed, not as fighters, but as teachers, builders, protectors. In a small garden, Lyra sat beside Carter. "You could go home," she said. Carter looked at the sun setting behind the hills. "I could," he said, "but maybe this is home now." In space, Earth's fleet stayed close, not to control, to watch, to guard, to remind the stars of one truth: when the weak call for help, the strong will answer. And Deathworlders, do not fall.